I call Richard Prosser.
Truly delighted to take the opportunity to make a call on this Committee of the Whole House as we debate this New Zealand flag referendums bill and speak to clauses 1 and 3. Mr Chairman, this process is an essential element of our democracy. This grand New Zealand democracy, one of only half a dozen in the world, with an uninterrupted tradition stretching back more than 150 years. Mr Chairman, and for better than 2/3 of that time, the current New Zealand ensign has been the symbol of that democracy. It was approved and gazetted in 1902, Mr Chair, fully 2 years before the Australian flag, for which it is occasionally mistaken by the ignorant and the unpatriotic. In fact, interestingly enough, Mr Chairman, the current Australian flag didn't become the official legal flag of Australia until 1954. 1954. So if anyone's going to be changing, it's going to be them. But we're not actually here to talk about the flag itself, Mr Chairman. We're here to debate this bill and the referenda, these two proposed referenda to which the bill pertains, the process of which they are a part, by which we as a parliament and a nation will either vote to change the New Zealand flag or we won't. Binding referenda, Mr Chair, have been a core policy of New Zealand First since our inception 22 years ago. We're glad, if nothing else, that this government has deigned that it will be bound by the results of these referenda. It's perhaps the only thing they've got right regarding this whole sorry process, Mr Chairman. We're being faced with the prospect of 2 referenda when only one would have been entirely sufficient. Correct. We're holding them the wrong way round, and we're wasting $26 million of taxpayers' money in the process. A process for which there is no call, Mr Chair. No one other than the Prime Minister is calling for a change to the New Zealand flag. No one wants it. Better than 3/4 of the population, and rising, are perfectly happy with the flag that we have, and everyone apart from John Key thinks that $26 million could be far better spent on any one of any number of actually worthwhile projects from a very long list of such projects, rather than on this pointless personal vanity project that the man has. He wants a legacy, Mr Chairman. When the Prime Minister was asked what one thing he could do if he could wave a magic wand and have one particular thing, he didn't want to end unemployment. He didn't want to clear the hospital waiting lists. He didn't want to make sure that every child in this country goes to school every morning with breakfast in their belly and lunch in their school bag and shoes on their feet and a raincoat if it's raining. No, he wants to change the flag. Well, what a shallow, hollow, vacuous dream that is, Mr Chairman. But at least he's agreed that the outcome of these 2 pointless, wasteful, unwanted, unnecessary, unwarranted referenda will be binding on his government. It's a small mercy, Mr Chairman, because for the most part, the Prime Minister and this government feel they have the right to ignore the results of referenda. Well, at least this time, he'll have no option. When the public go and tell him to take a running jump with his referenda and his flag change, he'll have no option but to take it on the chin and slink away with his tail between his legs. And the nation will speak, Mr Chairman. They will speak in these referenda. They're speaking already. We already know what the outcome will be. We all know it, and yet this government is pushing ahead anyway with this unwanted and unwarranted waste of money, this colossal waste of taxpayers' money on this colossal, farcical vanity project that the Prime Minister wants for his legacy. Well, it will be his legacy, Mr Chairman, but not for the reasons he'd like it to be. And it can be stopped, Mr Chairman. It does not have to go any further. The government could pull the pin on this ridiculous bill. Even now, they could choose to see reason. They could save the nation the expense of a $26 million farce that no one wants. Or any of the government members could stop it, Mr Chairman. Any member from the government benches could choose to make a stand up for their democracy, stand up for what they believe, stand up for what their constituents are telling them, stand up for what their own party members and supporters are telling them. In this 800th year of the anniversary of the sealing of the Magna Carta, the birth of our democracy itself, and the 161st anniversary of uninterrupted parliamentary democracy in New Zealand, any one of the members opposite could stand up and make a stand for the flag of this country over and above the ego of the Prime Minister. If one of them had the intestinal fortitude or the backbone to do that, this process could stop, Mr Chairman, and the taxpayer could be saved $26 million.
Point of order.
I apologise to the member, but in the absence of any member of the government taking this point of order, I think it's long been ruled out of order that to accuse members of lacking backbone is a breach of standing orders.
I take the member's point of order. I did hear what he said. I noticed it was a general broadcast as opposed to directed to one particular person. I would like to point out to the House, but particularly to this member, everything is pretty much repetition. We've had an hour and a half on this part of the debate. No one seems to be saying anything new. So I hope that others who are going to seek to make a contribution will provide something new.
Thank you, Mr.
Richard
Chair.
Prosser.
I will finish succinctly then, Mr. Chair, by simply putting the challenge to the members on the government benches. The ball is in their court. Any one of them could stop it. I ask, has any of these members from the government benches got the cojones to stand up and support the flag of their nation?
Don't push it.